Hello, everyone. This is Pushpa Ramchandran here. Happy to be part of that Enterprise Data Summit. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening to one and all, and welcome to this today's webinar where we will talk about the importance of data observability in the modern data landscape. I'm excited to explore this topic with you and shed light on how the data observability can significantly contribute to the success and efficiency with some real life examples. So that's what we will talk about today. And some of these areas that we will discuss, would like to hear your views as well. As we all know, organizations today are becoming increasingly reliant on data to drive efficiency in business processes, right? So for every single business decisions today are being driven by data, and more importantly, the insights that gets generated out of the data. That means the data that is used for decisioning must be available to the right users at the right time with the right level of quality. At the same time, the data collection and preparation processes today are growing more and more complex, which brings about the challenges such as how do I manage the performance bottlenecks, how do you manage the quality issues, how do we deal with the failures that can happen in the data workflows. It's very important and crucial to prevent these issues and as well promptly identify and address them when they do occur. So how do we maintain the trust in the data that is used for key decision making? So that's our first focus, right? How do we maintain the trust in the data that is used for decision making? The second aspect is how do we do that very efficiently as well at the same time? So that's the cost, to put it in the simplistic terms. So this is where data observability plays a vital role. It encompasses the ability to monitor, gain real-time insights, and troubleshoot throughout the data management processes, right? That includes the data pipelines, the data management, the data landscape, as well as the data infrastructure. By embracing the data observability, organizations can ensure the quality, integrity, as well as the performance of their data. Let us delve a bit deeper into each one of these areas, right? Let us start with maintaining the trust in the data. What are the parameters that can impact this? The sheer volume of data that is flowing into the decisioning systems today, and the fact that they are not only originating from within the organization, but it comes from multiple sources outside the organization, and more importantly, at multiple formats as well as at the multiple velocity. That means some of them could be streaming data, some of them could arrive at batch, but how do you manage all of them and bunch them together for the right decision-making system becomes very important factor to consider, right? Well, there are data quality systems that can address the data quality issues. It's important to continuously monitor all this information that is coming into the organization and monitor for the drift, right? The drift could occur in the data. The drift could occur even in the code, right? That is handling these data as well. These drifts can cause the data to work very different ways and bring some unintended business impact as well. And that's where data observability helps a big time. For example, data observability is not only about monitoring and alerting the change that is happening or the drift that is happening, but it is also more importantly about analyzing the root causes and recommending the appropriate actions as well. That's where the full power of data observability comes into the picture. For example, I'll talk about an example of how we did that for a customer. And an American multinational telecom conglomerate wanted to provide a better customer experience to 9 million odd visitors who visit their websites every single day. It also was leading to a lot of new sales. But however, the complex ecosystem of 60 plus digital applications, 500 plus microservices, and a mix of cloud and on-premise software that was leading to a lot of errors, and that was actually leading to customer dissatisfaction, contrary to their objective of providing a better customer experience. And that's where we delivered a continuous intelligence with a 360-degree visibility into the key operational metrics across the systems. We implemented a model that will capture the customer journey, map it to the system's flow, and implementing a data observability platform that was leveraged to correlate the data across the systems and enable better decisions at the time of accessing the website so that the customer gets the right experience. And this also helped in terms of optimizing a lot of the ticket. Well, that was an additional benefit that they got. The primary focus here was customer experience. So you can see how an ultimate business goal can be successfully delivered using data observability. While there are plenty of systems that can help in terms of providing the data, how do you make use of that at the right time becomes very, very important. Going back to our original construct of looking at making data available to right users at the right time with the right level of data quality. So that's an example around how a business transformation could be enabled through a data observability. Would start slightly looking into the other aspect, which is around the cost, right? Of course, regular monitoring of data pipelines, their timely completion, looking at bottlenecks, be in terms of the compute, storage, networks, falls under the purview of data observability. I'm not getting into the details of that. This is an area that is well understood and appreciated by almost all the key stakeholders, right? But there is one important question in this area that is about how different it is from the app or infrastructure monitoring tools and technologies that we have today. The key difference is while each one of them are doing a great job in their own domain, none looks at the underlying data that is being processed, which is a very key element when we are looking at the area of data observability. Now that brings to the great question about the data quality tools, as they are supposed to address the data issues across the systems. But while data quality tools and technologies focus on ensuring accuracy, completeness, reliability, and consistency, as all of us know, the observability is concerned about monitoring and understanding the behavior and performance of the data systems and processes. So that's a very key difference. Many a times, the inputs from the data observability systems could be a key input into the data quality systems in terms of how they should be further optimized to prevent data quality issues getting percolated down to the downstream systems. If you look at from a data observability standpoint, they look at a broader set of aspects like data lineage, data flow monitoring, data pipeline health, data transformation tracking, and data access monitoring, as well as it provides a transparency across the data pipelines. So all these help maintain and improve the trust in the data that powers the decisioning in the organization. That's a small part around how data quality and data observability could be slightly different and could work together is a perspective that I wanted to leave on the table. Would like to hear your views as well on this, because this is normally an area where there are a lot of questions that arise in terms of, do we really need observability when we have quality systems? The answer is absolutely and yes. Now let us look at the other side of the story on the cost that we wanted to talk about. To support the need of the data-driven decisioning powering to the business, today's data landscape has many architectural constructs and a number of layers of data, right? For example, if you look at a typical bank's data estate, they at least have 3 zones of data, right? A bank-wide landing zone and a standardized zone, as well as a curated zone from users can start consuming the data. And of course, there are business-specific data zones as well, like a payment data store or a compliance data store, right? On top of these enterprise data stores. Based on the internal and external requirements in terms of privacy and compliance, etc., some of these are maintained on-prem, some of them are maintained on the cloud. So that adds an additional layer of complexity. And look at that, there are a lot of data pipelines that are transforming the data across these layers. Of these earlier, there's a very important element that is a cost of doing all these things across these layers and across the data pipelines. There's cost involved in storing the data, processing the data, and consuming the data. So how do we keep track of these costs, predict the future spend, as well as manage the chargeback mechanism is an important question in front of many of the CDOs and CIOs today. While there are functionalities available in most of the modern data platforms, it's important to get a holistic view of the spends across the systems. Data observability can help in these aspects in terms of spend production modeling, departmental chargeback, overusage alerting, and optimal capacity planning as well. So that's the big difference, right? While independent service providers or independent solutions exist from each one of the software vendors, it's very, very important to have a holistic view, right? And that's a big area for us to focus on. Some of you may think this is FinOps, right? And that's what exactly it is supposed to be. And today's data observability platforms are something that do support FinOps as well. And that's where that becomes an important area for us to look into when we are looking at optimizing the cost. So the data observability platforms can also help in optimizing the spend as well in terms of monitoring the data that is used the most, the data that is used the least, and they can help in identifying the dark, redundant, cold data assets. So that can also help in terms of how do we structure the entire data architecture, right? In terms of storing different kind of data in different layers. And all of us know, depending upon the parameters of availability, reliability, accessibility, frequency requirements, the cost can significantly vary. So that's also a recommendation data observability tools can provide. For example, I'll talk about another wireless telecom operator where while there were some direct business benefits that we implemented, the cost benefit that the data observability tool could deliver was very, very, very significant. For example, these customer had been managing their ecosystems across infrastructures. What I mean by that is it was a hybrid setup where you have a lot of data that resided in cloud systems, a lot of them resided on-prem. And of course, the technologies were very different as well, including structured data stores, data lakes, and there were, of course, a lot of pipeline pumping data into these systems. So what we did is we implemented a continuous monitoring of the data flow and data stores to ensure the quality of data that is delivered to the business users, as well as optimize the cost by providing a unified view of the assets, thus reducing the overall infrastructure cost, right? So that's again an important aspect where data observability tools have a lot more promising capabilities today. So having spoken about the data trust optimal cost and how data observability can help on this, another key emerging area is on supporting business through the data governance, right? As all of us know, data governance is not only about a technology aspect, but it is a lot more about business, right? Business data governance. That is to identify the metadata and lineage in terms of the data ownership, the modification to the data, as well as the usage patterns by the key users. And that's what really helps in terms of fine-tuning the entire data architecture and the flow to help businesses derive the maximum value out of that, right? And that's something data observability tools can, or data observability platforms can significantly help today. So in summary, by adhering on to the principles of data observability and their best practices, organizations can proactively identify and address the data issues, enhance data quality, build trust into their data systems while optimizing the cost. This in turn enables more reliable insights and data-driven decisioning across the organization. Hope these ideas that we discussed today resonates with all of you in your cloud data transformation journey. Would love to hear from you. Thank you all and have a good day.